Oh my God, Jennifer from Guelph. I live in Kitchener-Waterloo. That's so close. I love that. Perfect.
From Denmark. Okay, hi, glad you're here. I'm Shivan Sarna. I am your host. It's a thrill to talk to my dear friend, Dr. Marisol Teijeiro. If you're wondering who I am, well, chances are you already know that's why you're here, because you're on my email list and in my community. I wrote this book, Healing SIBO. If you have SIBO and IBS, let me just tell you, this is one of the best investments you can make for under 20 bucks to figure out what to do and get you started. That's one thing. The other thing is I love to connect the experts directly with you. That's why I've done 11 summits and the Digestion SOS docuseries. Marisol and I met back in 2000, I think it was 16, 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
And back in the day.
Wow.
And she and I are soul sisters. We have so much in common in terms of our passion and our personalities, thank goodness. And it's nice to find one of your own. And a mission to help everybody feel better ASAP, baby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Marisol has been on a quest for the past 20 years teaching people about castor oil. And yes, she is also a naturopath. And yes, she has really like exploded on social media recently, which could not make me happier because I was already shouting it from the mountaintops. She's been like flying air balloons, mountaintops, motorcycles, trains, planes, and automobiles.
Automobiles, exactly.
And so when I saw that it was taking off on social media with all of these influencers and all of these everyday people who were loving castor oil and the special packs that she created, I just, mission accomplished. I'm so happy for you. So, and for everyone who's getting the benefit, because really you're taking an ancient science and bringing it forward to today's cuckoo, maluku, crazy, wonderful life. So with that being said, you're in great hands today. We do have a special treat for you because you know I love to arm wrestle with all my friends who have products to bring us special discounts. So we'll tell you about that in a little bit. In the meanwhile, take it away, Dr.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Shivan. I just love working with you. And honestly, like our missions are so in line, and I'm going to get into the mission a little bit later because it's part of the presentation. And it just speaks so much volumes about the benefit of castor oil and castor oil packs. So without further ado, I'll get into it because my main goal is for everyone here tonight or this afternoon or day or morning or wherever you are in the world is to understand how you can poop, sleep, and feel better and also look better with castor oil every single day. As Shivan mentioned, no surprise, you know, everyone is talking about castor oil and many are making these huge claims that it's a proof of God. Like this oil is so amazing. Here's a great example of an amazing YouTube from Chalene Johnson talking about how great castor oil is. You know, when I see stuff like that, I always question, I'm like, why are people associating it to God? Is it because castor oil, you know, one of its names is the palm of Christ oil, and that name was given to it years ago as it's originally from their Mediterranean basin. And the leaf, if you look at it here on the screen, is in the shape of a palm of a hand. And it is one of those oils that has a long history dating back to Mesopotamia, the ancient Greeks, biblical times, and along those years. But what I love about castor oil right now, and sometimes it also makes me kind of suspect castor oil, is that it has become such a trend. Everyone is claiming it to be a multi-use, a natural miracle wellness and beauty oil. And for me personally, whenever anyone says something like this, which they did when I first encountered castor oil back 20 years ago, it made me suspect right away. It's just because I was like, is this possibly magic in a bottle? Because I was told it could do good for your hair. It could help your eyebrows, eyelashes, aging eyes, improve your face and neck aging or reduce it substantially, will help with your vision, joints, even constipation and labor, could make you have a baby, skin hydration, appearance and wellness, the oral microbiome balance, and even go so far as improvement of your metabolism and detox. Some people are taking it as far as saying that castor oil is the new natural Ozempic. That's a huge claim, a big claim that I'm not sure if I totally support, but you know, when placed in the belly button, there have been benefits, and many people are reporting things like reduction of bloating and just feeling better in their digestive system. So, you know, when a lot of people are saying something and a lot of people are leaving testimonies and saying, you know, I'm getting benefit from this, your ears kind of perk up. But at the end of the day too, also, you kind of want to see you want to clear all the clutter and see like let's separate the truth from the fiction. What is the real fact? And let's really find out what really makes castor oil amazing. And so that we don't just make it think like it or sound like it's a snake oil. Because I don't know about you, and again, drop it in the chat. If you've ever heard so many beneficial things about castor oil that maybe at first, when you first heard about castor oil, you're like, oh my gosh, like this stuff sounds like it's completely miraculous or like out of this world. Because that's what I thought about when it came to castor oil. And my friends, that took me down a 20-year journey. I literally, what's wrong with snake oil? Okay, and I love that you said, well, back in the day, they would put and bottle different things in different oils, and they weren't necessarily really what they said in the bottle. And so that term snake oil was basically saying that someone would promote it in a different way. But for me, what ended up happening when I got all those ideas about what castor oil and this castor oil pack thing could do, it really sent me down the proverbial rabbit hole. And I started, looking and researching. And for 10 years before I even became a naturopathic doctor, I started investigating castor oil and castor oil packs. I didn't do castor oil packs right away because they seemed really, really weird. But I was definitely into looking and researching it. And I really got interested in it. And I don't know what it was that attracted it to me. Probably the way that I got introduced to it at a health food store is that I walked into the health food store, and on the bottom shelf, these bottles were sitting there all dusty. And I ended up seeing like this golden halo around one of them. I took a second take and I was like, what is that? And, I looked at the bottle and I read it, and, it said castor oil. At first, I kind of thought it was like cod liver oil. And this is a common, correlation that people make. And so I, of course, brought it up to the people at the cashiers, and I'm like, tell me about this oil. And they went through that entire list that I brought up earlier. And I was like, well, I don't know about this thing. So I researched, and actually, more importantly, I practiced on myself. I was the first guinea pig. And then I, of course, brought it to all my patients because I absolutely fell in love with castor oil and castor oil packs in every which way. And to tell you the truth, every single day I am learning and learning and learning more and more and more all the different applicable uses of castor oil. And it's just phenomenal what this oil can do. I'm the worldwide So at this point, I'm the worldwide thought leader on castor oil and everything to do with castor oil packs. I've been a guest on podcasts, health summits, of course, SIBO, SOS, and others of Shivan Summits, Wellness Mama podcast, Girlfriend, Doctor, Energy Blueprint, and more. I've been really blessed to be on syndicated health shows like Bloom and NBC. I have been for over a decade a practicing clinician and director of a naturopathic detox cleanse center, which I decided to let go of in order to really promote the mission of castor oil and castor oil packs as the Queen of the Throne's visionary CEO. And the big reason for that was that my mission, what I realized in clinical practice was that, everyone was talking about sick care, what their sickness was, what their condition was, what their symptoms were, and everyone was hyper focusing on that. But what I realized is that as as the person who is dealing with an illness or not feeling well or not being in the best state that they possibly can be in, what happens is that you really are in a place of disempowerment when all you're thinking about is a sickness, because there's not that much that you can do when you're in a sick state. I like to leave the illness and the problems and the conditions and the symptoms all to the doctors. And you know what? I like to put myself into a position where I can have power, which is the one and only area that we can truly have power is within our self-care. And I saw this firsthand as a patient myself. It was one of the reasons I was drawn to become a naturopathic doctor, because I wasn't getting answers to my problems. I was taking all the pills, all the supplements, spending, thousands of dollars, all the potions, all the lotions, and they really weren't helping me at all. And even though I was thinking that I was doing everything right, because at that time, even to the point where I got back to school and I'm learning and I'm educating and I'm seeing all the right doctors, I'm literally at the end of my schooling to become a naturopathic doctor, things still weren't working. And the reason that they weren't working for me was because I was simply under too much stress and I hadn't made that connection yet. But the problem with that was that was blocking me from feeling better. Okay, so who here, I want to ask you, who here feels that they're in the same boat on this one, right? That you're doing everything right, you're taking all the right supplements, doing all the right exercises, you're fasting, you're this, you're that, you're doing all the things. So busy, actually more busier than you were before. And you're not feeling that things are changing. There's no change, and you're just stuck. You're really stuck, and you're just having more symptoms, more problems, more illnesses. By the time that I was, I'm seeing all these wonderful thumbs up and hands, by the time that I was like bedridden, which is when I actually finally decided to do a castor oil pack because I was so desperate, I had a conglomerate of diagnoses. I had chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr, mold toxicity, multiple environmental sensitivity. So I couldn't be in, and I can't even be in a new car because the smells would bother me so much. I couldn't smell fabrics. I couldn't smell perfumes. I couldn't smell shampoos. I couldn't tolerate or deal with anything because my body was so toxic. And here I was running and trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what I could do to get better. And I was dying in the process trying to figure it out. And then I surrendered. And I surrendered to realizing and taking the time to self-care. Because I thought back in my mind and I said, when I first started in this natural health industry, what was it? What are all the things that I could have done that I didn't do? And it was that castor oil pack that I was like, oh, I didn't do it. I didn't think it was worthwhile, right? And so I looked back and I said, well, let me start with castor oil. So I first started with castor oil just from a cosmetic perspective. Of course, when you're dealing with all those kinds of problems and IBS, you're not absorbing very well. So, physically from a cosmetic perspective, I wasn't looking very good. My face was looking very shallow. My hair was falling out. I couldn't grow my hair past a certain level. Now I choose to have it this length because I love it. It's so styling and fun and cool. And it fits my personality really well. But back then, I was really suffering, and I would look in the mirror and I felt so aged at like 26. I felt like I was like 45 or 50. Like right now I'm 46 and I feel I look better than I looked when I was in my 20s. So I started with castor oil from a cosmetic perspective. And the reason I did that was because the research was demonstrating that it was high and rich in antioxidants and that it was an excellent natural anti-inflammatory with a lot of emollient properties, which is really good for the skin and for cosmetics. But then finally, when I'm sick and in bed and unable to get out, I said, that's it. I'm going to do the castor oil pack. And what I realized back then was, and know now very intimately, because, I've done, like at this point in time, I'm going to probably say I've done personally like millions of castor oil packs. And I've definitely recommended thousands and thousands and thousands of castor oil packs to my patients. Not that any of you are my patients here this afternoon or this morning or evening. However, you're just here to learning and getting educated on these tools. And so, and again, I'm not recommending you to do a castor oil pack. What I want you to do is just learn and evolve and grow and be able to take this knowledge and then apply it within your own self-care practices. Of course, checking in with your doctor, checking in with those people who are managing those illnesses and those symptoms in your condition. But what I realized was that the castor oil pack, hey man, it's the original biohacking tool. The original biohacking tool that back in the day, the original father of medicine, Hippocrates, was using. Pliny the Elder was using these packs with all the empresses and the wives of the emperors who were having problems with fertility or getting pregnant or having babies. Like they were using these castor oil packs for women health problems back in the day. And the reason that it took me over a decade to actually convince myself to do it was twofold. Number one, and I know a lot of you are going to find yourself in this category, and give me a thumbs up if this is you, or like a hands up, or a yes, that's me, is that I was really busy caring for everybody else. I was a martyr to everybody else, everyone else who needed help, everyone else I would tell them to do the castor oil pack. Everyone else I was telling them to do all these things, make sure they do this, make sure they do that. But I was so busy talking about everybody else and caring about everybody else that I was completely forgetting about me. And I was completely forgetting about me, and I was struggling and suffering as a consequence of that. And the other reason I wasn't doing the castor oil pack was that I just thought it sounded really woo-woo. Who goes and puts oil on a piece of cloth and then puts it on their liver, and that's supposed to actually do something? So it didn't fit. And at the time too, People were recommending to wrap the castor oil pack in plastic. Again, another situation that I was like, this does not make sense. So it just didn't fit in my philosophy. But what I want to say and encourage you is that don't let this be you, because, I regret it. I look at myself right now in the mirror and I go, wow, what could I have looked at had I started this back when I was first told about these castor oil packs, back when I was in my early 20s? Or had I started to use castor oil orally for an oral rinse, or like to wash my face and take off my eye makeup and use it as a night cream before I go to bed? Like, wow, what the difference would it be? Still, I'm getting benefit now, but what would have the difference been for me had I done it? And I'm not the only person who says this, because this is one of the most common comments on our website as a testimonial, that people are like so thankful that they finally know about castor oil packs and they're starting to use them. But what they wished is they'd had known sooner. But the reality was that, natural practitioners, naturopathic doctors, functional medical doctors, they'd actually stopped recommending castor oil packs. And the reason being that they'd stopped recommending them was because they were such a hassle to do and they were messy. And I saw that after my being sick and recuperating so quickly. And when I went back to naturopathic college to finish up my clinical year, what I realized was that none of my patients wanted to do it either, because they were just so messy and challenging. And where were you going to find the materials? And that somebody needed to take it on themselves to make it simple. Simple, because with castor oil and castor oil packs, here's the thing. The narrative on castor oil and castor oil packs has never, ever changed. Think about our health industry. The narrative is constantly changing on everything. One day they're saying, eat low fat. Then they're saying, eat high fat. One day they're saying fasting. Another day they're saying, don't fast for you. Another day they're saying, eat carbs. And then they're like, don't eat carbs. Like, the narrative with castor oil and castor oil packs has absolutely never changed since the beginning of time. Ultimately, it's an oil that's used to transform, to change, to self-care. And it was used by Cleopatra for her beauty, and she was renowned for her beauty, all the way to, modern day influencers who are loving and using castor oil and promoting it everywhere because they themselves have noted benefit. And the cool thing with castor oil is because it works, but I don't want you to take my word for it. I think the most important thing is proof is in the pudding. And in order to believe it, like, I didn't believe it until I actually did it. And then once I did it, wow, then it just became part of my life. And a part of my life that I feel so strongly about that I decided to close my clinical practice and literally go on the road. I guess you could say like a snake oil salesperson. I don't want anyone to quote that improperly, but it's kind of true that I went onto a soapbox and decided, if I looked at my clinical practice and I looked at all my patients, every single patient was using castor oil and castor oil packs, and I had excellent results with every single patient, everyone getting better to their certain way. Not everyone did well. Some people passed away or had their journey, but in general, people felt better, they pooped better, they slept better, and overall they looked better when they started using castor oil and castor oil packs. And that's huge. I really can't say that about too many other things in my clinical practice. And it's because of the mechanism of action of castor oil packs, which we're going to get into, okay? Because I think it's absolutely the missing link in our ability to self-care naturally. Again, this isn't a cure. We're not preventing any disease. What we're doing is we're self-caring, because it's in the self-care. When we surrender into the self-care and we start, leaving the sick care into our doctor's hands, that's their job. They've learned that. That's what they went to school for. It's their job to stress about it. Let's stop stressing and let's surrender into how we can best care for ourselves every single day. Take the time. And fortunately with castor oil packs, the way that I've done it, because I'm a busy lady, like I know many of you are busy ladies, I've made it as easy and simple as possible so that you can do it quickly in 2 minutes, and then you can make it matter in your life and self-care with the limited time you have as a busy mother, busy entrepreneur, whatever stage of life you're in. But if you look at this, castor oil changed my life. Wow, I'm blown away at how great I feel after using castor oil packs. I've gotten my whole family on board now. We all wear them. The quality of these packs are unmatched, and I know I can trust this oil. And this is very, very important. You're going to hear throughout the presentation. Possibly a miracle. I have had IBS for years and have seen several doctors with little to no results. I use the Castor Oil liver pack for 5 days and then every other day after that. But at the end of 5 days, I started to notice a change in my consistency of my stools. And that's cool because castor oil packs for me, the IBS I was dealing with was more of a diarrhea. I tend to have, I don't. I'll float back and forth between constipation and diarrhea, but I tend to have more of loose stools. And that's a question I often get is if you have loose stools, will castor oil packs work for you? Again, castor oil packs are regulatory. So whether you're on one spectrum or the other spectrum, they're beneficial. So if this continues, it is a miracle to me. Just this little change has made me happier. And I pray that it only gets better. And you can just keep on reading it. Mood better, bowel movements better, energy better, hormones better. This is what everybody says. Okay. So let's start like I started with castor oil, right? Because I think I like to say that castor oil is kind of like the gateway into working with castor oil and castor oil packs. Once you start using castor oil for certain things, then you get into other things. So you might have known it to induce labor or as a laxative. Lots of people, their grandmothers would make them take a spoonful of castor oil to clean out their bowels or for parasites, kind of like ancient traditions and cultural traditions in like the West Islands and India. And of course, the Barbados and Jamaica. A lot of my Jamaican patients will always say, oh yeah, my grandmother used to give me castor oil all the time, a spoonful weekly to clean out my guts. And so those are practices that we've taken over time because they work, right? They help move your bowels, and there's research that supports it as well too. And we all know a good midwife, or there might be some of you in the audience, thumbs up if you were recommended by your midwife or your OBGYN or by someone to take castor oil orally to help induce labor when you were pregnant and overdue. It's one of the strategies that midwives use. I see some thumbs up. Very cool. Very cool. So castor, we know by research that it actually moves smooth muscle, and smooth muscle is found in the digestive tract, but also in the uterus. And also a place that many people forget is in the blood vessels and the lymphatic systems, which is very important for keeping the body healthy, bringing nutrients into the areas that it needs to go, and then taking out the junk that the cells, each cell is like a little mini us. Each cell has to poop. It has to, clear itself out and cleanse and detox. But where does that stuff go? Well, it needs to be moved out by the lymphatic system. So we want to make sure that all those smooth muscles in the circulation and lymphatic system are working. So you might know it for this, but did you know that castor oil can also be known and used in many ways for beauty? 9 ways, and probably even more. I just wanted to keep it succinct for this presentation, but you can use it as a face wash. You can wash your face with oil. It's so simple. You steam a wet hot cloth, you put it on your face, open up those pores, and then simply just like apply the castor oil, wipe off any makeup as an eye makeup remover, and then take the same moist cloth and wipe it off again. Your face feels so clean, so soft, so moisturized. It's amazing, especially as you're aging and moving into perimenopause and menopause, or anytime that you may be dealing with things like, acne, whether you're in just having your period and you're oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of like when you're starting your period at that point in life, right? Like it's a great time anytime that there's dysregulation or unbalance in your skin, because castor oil is really good at balancing out the microbiome. So we know that acne is a big problem with that. You can mix castor oil with things like salt and green tea. I use like fine grinded Himalayan salt as a daily or in a regular exfoliant on my body, my hands, my face. I'll make a face mask, mixing it with clay. Spot acne treatment, I use it after sun care all the time because of the wonderful antioxidants. It smooths the skin down on a sunburn really rapidly. I love mixing it sometimes with aloe vera, even better, on my eyebrows and hair and my eyelashes to help them stay nice and thick and beautiful, which is how I love them to be. And as a beautiful oral rinse, which I find is super awesome. And in fact, there's a lot of research when it comes to oral rinses using castor oil solutions that they've, compared it to conventional oral rinses and found that castor oil is as beneficial, which is fantastic, right? Again, Ricinus communis, that's a Latin name for castor oil. Kind of neat when, conventional medical circles are actually researching one of our natural health staples to see that it works well. And you might know this as the practice of oil pulling, and it is so simple to do with castor oil. Number one, normally oil pulling is done with sesame oil and coconut oil, a mix of that, but you need to use like 1 to 2 tablespoons, which is a lot. But with castor oil, all you need to use is 1 to 2 teaspoons. So super simple. Oh, hold on. Super, super simple. And all you do is you just swish it in your oral mucosa for only about 1 to 2 minutes. And the reason you don't have to swish it for 20 minutes like you do with coconut oil and sesame oil is because, well, castor oil is thicker. If you know the consistency of castor oil, it's thicker. When you're swishing it in your mouth, it's like really going through your teeth. You can feel it. So I do that as a practice every single time I brush my teeth. Sometimes I do it before I brush my teeth, usually in the daytime. And then at nighttime, I do it after I brush my teeth because I want to go to bed with all that castor oil in my mouth for multiple beneficial reasons. People are saying all kinds of things about castor oil. I do want to put to your attention. I want to make sure you don't think that there are larger than life claims when it comes to castor oil. Also, I think it's very important for you to know the truth. I think truth in advertising and truth in products is very important. Some people are making claims that it's new nature's Botox. I wouldn't go so far to say that it's a natural Botox. It's not going to like freeze your face or do things like that. What it will do is it will reduce inflammation because it's natural anti-inflammatory. It's very rich in good antioxidants like quercetin. It helps with preserving glutathione, nitric oxide, which again improves circulation. One of the big wins when it comes to aging of your face is if you can just get better circulation and lymph drainage, that can make you look years younger. And the reason why is because so many of us are so stressed. And this is another a little plug for why castor oil packs are so important. We're so stressed that we're in our upper chest and breathing here, and our shoulders are up here. So we're cutting off literally all the circulation and lymph drainage to our face. So that can make us look aged. So, of course, castor oil, like I said earlier, good for acne, good for all those things. It definitely sunburns, excellent emollient. And that's all seen and proven, and any doctor will confirm that. But let's just be careful of any over claims that people are making and be really, really careful of things like this. This is a danger. There's people using castor oil and medical tape right now, because they're saying that when you apply the castor oil to your skin or your forehead, and then you apply medical tape, you go to bed with it in the morning, the crease disappears. Okay, this is going to be a temporary disappearance of your crease. If anything, maybe long-term might be even more problematic. And another thing is you can't mix castor oil with the plastics, the sticky stuff that's in behind the medical tape. I know medical makes it sound like it's healthy, but it's not. Medical tape, number one, people have allergic reactions to it all the time. And number two, and this is gross, that sticky stuff is all made of acrylics. And castor oil is the master carrier oil, so it could be bringing those acrylics into your tissues. We don't want that. So please be careful of any of these crazy, crazy trends that I'm seeing on social media. You just want to be careful. There are great ways to use castor oil naturally as an essential part of your nighttime routine. I apply castor oil all around my eyes, on my eyebrows, on my eyelashes, and then I always go to sleep with this beautiful, basically it's an eye pack. So like a castor oil pack for your liver, this is my eye pack to go to sleep at night. And I mean, I do not travel without this because number one, I sleep better with an eye mask. Naturally, just by wearing an eye mask, you naturally upregulate your melatonin, which is awesome, especially as you age, because melatonin in women decreases as we age. So we want to just make sure, that we're using this in a good way and a healthy way, and understanding that, if you want Botox, get Botox. I'm not a proponent, but you got to do you, whatever feels better for you. But castor oil is not going to be an alternative to Botox. I'm sorry to say, but it is going to be an amazing tool to help things reduce the appearance of fine lines, make things look better. Dark circles tend to look better, again, because of all the actions in terms of nitric oxide promotion, glutathione, at helping circulation be better, and getting all those wonderful antioxidants. So these are the 5 actions of castor oil that I can find in the research, and this is all researched. And so if you want references, we have those for people. It's a natural anti-inflammatory and pain reliever, and we can see that in quite a few studies. It is rich in antioxidants, so it's going to benefit, again, preserve glutathione, high in vitamin E, quercetin. The leaves of castor oil actually have ECEG, which is a wonderful, excellent antioxidant from green tea. Castor oil is seen as a microbiome balancer. So that's why it's good for oral mucosal health as oil pulling, but also for like acne problems. It's good as a smooth muscle mover, so it can make bowels move, make your circulation and lymphatics function a lot better. And again, it's always the ultimate carrier oil, so it carries things into the body. So if you have a fancy for essential oils, or you like to use and combine herbals, well, castor oil is your gal. I look at castor oil as the queen of all oils. Olive oil is the king in my books because olive oil is that digestive oil, which is so good internally and has so many benefits in terms of blood sugar, cholesterol, all those areas. But castor oil is the queen of all oils for cosmetic, and it just works for so many different ways for women super, super well in our bodies. But remember, it's a master carrier oil. Because of that, castor oil, the quality of it is absolutely paramount. You've got to absolutely be careful that you're not buying anything off of Amazon or anywhere else except from our website or another quality castor oil. That I'll let you know what the quality you need in a castor oil. There are so many imitation and counterfeit bottles out there. It is crazy. I bought this on Amazon. Look at how much they tried to mimic our label. And when I opened up the bottle, it wasn't even castor oil. Seriously. I was like, what is this? It doesn't smell like castor oil. It doesn't look like castor oil. It doesn't have the consistency of castor oil. It's some random oil they put into the bottle and then they're selling it and they're mimicking the oil. You'll know we have a validated website. Go to our website. That is a very, very blessed place to purchase it from. Shivan has a link for you. You can use that link. That's the best link to go because you know you're getting it from a trusted source. And when you're looking for castor oil, you know, you're looking for it to be this, you're looking for it to be 100% pure, certified organic, always hexane free, fresh pressed, extra virgin, which means it's the very first pressing. Third-party testing is key, even more important than whether it's cold pressed or expeller pressed. It's third-party tested because you'll choose which, a good quality company will choose which oil to bottle, whether cold or expeller, if it's third-party tested and you're looking at all the different measurements, which aren't only just if there's no chemicals in it. It's also what's the iodine level in the castor oil? What is the racinoleic acid proportion of the castor oil? I'm looking for everything. We're also even inspecting. We go so far as to inspect the barrels because there are many times that barrels of castor oil come with a lot of problems with them, soot and all these different things. And not all companies are taking the care and the quality of the castor oil because for them, it's just another one of the millions of products on their website. This, for me, castor oil is my mission and it's all that I do. And so I'm really, really careful in terms of how I work with castor oil because it is the queen of all oils. And I literally bow down and hail to the queen of all oils. And ours is practitioner grade because I'm a practitioner and all my friends are using it who are practitioners. And I want my practitioner friends to have the best quality for their patients. It's also one of the reasons why it never sits in plastic with our oil, and it's always bottled in glass. Okay, so those are really, really important. Jot them down if you didn't get those or rewatch the webinar, but it's really, really going to be important to understand that those are the qualities that you're looking in terms of oil. So what's a castor oil pack? Okay, so like Mary Poppins says, take a spoonful of castor oil. You're not going to drink it though. We don't want you to drink it. What I want you to do is to put it on your skin and then put a pack of organic cotton or wool on it. Again, with castor oil packs, you also want to be careful of imitation and counterfeit castor oil packs. Again, see this, they almost mimicked our pack completely and went online and, you know, we're marketing it as though they were Queen of the Thrones castor oil pack. But the problem with this is huge, is that, you know, these packs are made with cotton that is actually blended with substances. Like it's literally blended with things like acrylics and rayon, which are all made out of plastic. So we just do not want that. Okay. And be careful of, again, packs that may be made of organic bamboo. I know it sounds really clean, but organic bamboo is not clean. It's highly chemically processed and is problematic. And again, it's one of those materials you want to stay away from. And I know the pack seems like an extra step, and I know it might sound a bit woo-woo because that's what I thought when I first did castor oil packs, but you really don't get the full benefit without using the pack because the oil has one benefit, which is, you know, the natural anti-inflammatory, all those good benefits I spoke about earlier, but then the pack itself actually is a natural way, like a weighted blanket to help promote rest and relaxation state, the oxytocin molecule, which downregulates your cortisol, your stress hormone, my friends, super important. And the most important missing link when it comes to our being able to feel better. And so it's both the oil and the pack that make it 100% of the treatment. And these packs are practitioner approved. I love how Stephanie says she loves this product. I've been I have been absolutely loving incorporating regular castor oil packs into my nightly health practice. The kit makes it so easy. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist and will definitely be recommending this product to all of my products. Dolores says, blessing oil. As a massage therapist, I learned about castor oil packs from Edgar Casey Materials many years ago. They are messy and I did not use them a lot. I love the eye and liver pack so much, they're easier to use. The skin around my eyes looks brighter. So I used a bit on my face and was glad to see the face wash routine today. Also, my husband was screaming with a pinched nerve causing shoulder pain. I used this therapeutic oil with an infrared red lab and was able to greatly improve his shoulder. Thank you, Queen of the Throne. So there's so many different ways to use castor oil and castor oil packs, but they're beneficial if you're using the good quality. So this is the $1 million question, right? Can castor oil or castor oil packs help you? Well, if you're a woman, any way along the spectrum, they absolutely can help you, whether you're a youth or an infant or a child. We even have kids packs for little children. Whether you're in puberty, in your fertility years, castor oil packs, many fertility practitioners, naturopaths, and functional medical practitioners love using castor oil packs as part of their protocols. Many of them use it as a way of seed cycling without having to use seeds because it's beneficial in that manner. Postpartum, you can use it to help with regulating your cycle if you're wanting to get pregnant again, or even if you're just wanting to have things like more breast milk. Again, not that it produces more breast milk, but it helps your body to rest and feel better and reset. And with that reset, your body can do what it's meant to do in that phase of life, including perimenopause and when you're older. So the only time you don't use castor oil or castor oil packs is during pregnancy. Okay, so that's do not use during pregnancy. They're not to be used. Here's an example of a big question that we constantly get. Can we use castor oil packs during your period? Yes, you can. We, in fact, use them to hormone cycle using a liver pack at the time when your body's best able to liver detox, which is in the follicular phase from bleed to ovulation. And then we move the pack down into the pelvic region, or we use a pelvic pack from ovulation until you bleed again. And for women in perimenopause or menopause who may not be having a period or their period is everywhere, you follow the moon cycle. So from full moon to new moon, you wear a liver pack. From new moon to full moon, you would wear a pelvic pack. So truly, again, we're going to let the doctor worry about symptoms, conditions, and problems, but if you're dealing with any of these, anxiety, constipation, cysts, fatigue, acne, IBS, unwanted hair growth, any of these things and more, castor oil packs are going to be beneficial because their mechanism of action goes to the root. Okay. It's not, yeah, there'll be benefit to symptoms. Yes, you'll feel better, but it's not targeting the symptom in specific. It's working at the base, at the root of the problem. And you can see, like Jennifer states, amazing. I've been using castor oil packs for liver cleansing kit for about 2 weeks now, and I love the benefits. I'm 52. I haven't had a period for 8 months. I've been balancing my hormones using herbs for 10 years. And after 2 weeks with the castor oil packs, I got my period. Crazy, right? Yeah, so it is because castor oil regulates you and supports your body's ability to do its job. And sometimes we might be biologically aging too quickly because of the stress that we're dealing with. So I'll let you read the rest of them. But you might be questioning, like my husband at home, my partner, my friend, my brother, like, can men use them? Well, yes, men can use castor oil as well too. I tend not to speak about it so much, but my husband uses them regularly with me. He uses very similarly to the way that I use them. I just don't speak about it as much because, well, men, it takes them a long time to get down the self-care journey and the road. But honestly, when they do start to use it, they get benefit as well too. And one of the ways that you can speak to your man or speak to your brother is many of them these days are looking for longevity. Longevity is the big keyword that everyone is looking at. Well, castor oil and self-care is the way to seek longevity if you want that. And the way to get there, the avenue is about shifting the body into the relaxed state. So improving something known as parasympathetic tone. This is moving your body into the relaxed state, reducing cortisol, the stress hormone, augmenting oxytocin, which is our love and connection molecule. And that's where your body can do what it naturally does best, its most important aspects of self-care, which occur when you rest, when you can digest, and when you can detox. Because the castor oil liver pack really, really supports these areas of and that's why you hear people saying, oh, I'm doing the pack for liver detox, or I'm doing it for lymphatic drainage or colon cleansing. That's because the castor oil pack, not that it fixes these things, it fixes the step before. It helps your body get into a relaxed state. Get into a relaxed state, the natural sequelae of that is better liver detox, better lymphatic drainage, and better colon cleansing. But the key to anything in life is regular rhythm with the castor oil pack. You doing it one time, sure, you like your IBS symptoms may improve, but like you'll feel better in your belly. Like I've often used it for acute IBS symptoms. If I'm cramping, it's a soothing warm compress that, calms the body down, and that feels better. But if you're looking for the overall benefit of really getting into the nitty-gritty and the root causes, which is our bodies being stuck in stress state, which is causing the majority of disease in this day and age, we've got to get into a regular rhythm. But that's no different than anything that you're doing now. Supplements, if you don't take them regularly, you're not going to get benefit from them. If you don't eat healthily regularly, doesn't need to be all the time, doesn't need to be 100% of the time, but we got to have some kind of an 80-20 principle going on in all aspects of our lives. So what's the best rhythm to work with castor oil packs? Well, let's go back to my ancient friends, the traditional Chinese medicine doctors, because they were genius and had mapped out the times of the body when the organs are most active. And what's funny is that modern medicine is now supporting the chronological clock in terms of liver detox, lymphatic drainage, and colon cleansing. And what we're seeing in the present day research in chronobiology is that the body is detoxifying and cleansing while you sleep. So it's important and imperative to get to bed before the hours of 11 p.m. because the gallbladder signals the start of the cleansing nightly cycle between the hours of 11 and 1 a.m. And as a side note, if you're finding yourself waking up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m., my friends, well, that could be a sign that your liver is overloaded and you're having problems. And this is very, very common in women with transitioning into perimenopause, during puberty, or even, postpartum, whenever there's big hormonal fluxes. The liver can be overwhelmed, overloaded, and you can find yourself waking up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you find yourself waking up through any of these hours of the night, 1 to 3 a.m., 3 to 5 a.m., the lungs master of the lymphatic system, and the large intestine between the hours of 5 and 7 a.m. So even if you're waking up too early, like that could be an issue with your large intestine not being able to cleanse properly. So the best time to do a castor oil pack is to do it at least an hour before bedtime, or even greater still is to wear it overnight. That's the gold standard. But listen, if you're not going to do it because you can't do it at that time of night for some reason, maybe you're a nurse who works at night, maybe you're a police officer who's on the night shift, maybe you're a firefighter, maybe, who knows, maybe you're up all night and you just can't do it. Who knows what the situation is for you, but I honor you and I just want to share with you that if it's better to do it at any time of the day rather than not doing it at all, okay? So there'll be better benefit at least to do it, okay? So how does the castor oil pack work, okay? Because I know you want research. Me too. Join the club. We're all in this together, my friends. So there's been research done with regards to castor oil pack. One nice study done in Turkey comparing it to conventional laxatives, finding that castor oil was able to help improve bowel movements and the consistency and the frequency of bowel movements, and without a reduction, with a reduction of the urgency and cramping that occurs when you take laxatives. So that's a big, huge win for castor oil packs. There's also been another study done on the immunomodulation effect, noting that castor oil packs have the effect to improve the lymphatic system and enhance immunological function, which I find is very interesting. And that is the limit of the castor oil pack studies. There isn't a great huge body, but what there is, there's a lot of eclectic practical use of castor oil packs. The reason why castor oil packs aren't researched is, well, because it's nothing that can be patented. So when things aren't patented, no one wants to do the research on it. And I did do a limited case study within my clinical practice, and I found some amazing results out of it, but I wasn't able to publish it just because I got too busy. But we do know that there's benefit to them. And that's where I say, like anything, I think it's part and parcel. You got to try it to know it and see it and then actually believe it, because it's going to be very, very hard to understand it unless you see it and feel it and then you believe it, right? That'll be the way that'll convince you. And that's what has convinced so many people to actually do the pack, is once they do it, they don't go back. And that's what people say all the time. And the reason they don't go back is mainly because of the activation of the vagal nerve. And this we know in terms of, weighted blankets. And this is why you need the pack. A weighted blanket activates your vagal nerve feedback loop and calms your nervous system down. And if you wear that before going to bed at night, that's why people report that they sleep better throughout the evening. And then when they wake up in the morning, their bowel movements are better because they've been in a neurologically relaxed state and frame of mind and body all while they sleep. So their body can do the job that they're meant to do. And no surprise, immediate relaxation. I'm so pleased with my experience thus far. I felt a sense of relaxation almost immediately. I don't think it was just a placebo effect. I've been an insomniac my entire life, and this is in combination with some essential oils, helped me to rest a bit. Most importantly, it helped tremendously with my constipation lifelong, which for me is a miracle. Okay. So this is like common in our comments and testimonials all the time. So if you wanted to start, or maybe you have a pack at home, but where do you start with it? Where do you go with it? What do you do with the pack? Where do you wear it? Truly, you can wear the pack all over your body. Like I said, I love wearing it on the eyes. You can wear it on the pelvic region. You can wear it for your breasts. You can put it on your thyroid. You can put it on joints. You can put it absolutely anywhere on the body. But the gold standard where you're going to start is everyone is to start on the liver. And the reason being is the liver is the master detoxification organ. And the liver is all about control and calming and relaxation. And if you can rest and calm the liver down, then the rest of the body can follow. And so wearing the pack over the liver stimulates and works through all these different dermatomes to get the body better balanced. Okay. So this might all sound great, but honestly, in order for this to work or to help you or to be of a self-care benefit, we've got to build a habit. And how do we build a habit? Bottom line. Well, there's a really, really great book called Atomic Habits, which I encourage you all to read, by James Clear, which goes through an outline of how you build habits. And with castor oil packs, part of the work that I've done over the years is make it so that it can become a habit and it become easy. So what are the 4 steps? Number 1, you've got to make it super obvious. So today we've got a link. We've got it made it super obvious for you to get your pack, get started. It'll get shipped to you. It'll be at your front door within a few days. And that's part of making it super obvious. But what you got to do once you get the pack is you got to open it up. You wouldn't believe the amount of stories of people I hear that, life got busy and and they put the pack on the side and they hid it in the cabinet. And then 3 months later, 3 years later, they open it up and finally start doing it. And then they tell me they wish they would have started earlier. Okay. I was just at a conference this weekend and I got that so many times that I just wanted to make sure on this webinar that I shared with you in this masterclass that, come on, take it out of the pack, put it on right away. Don't be afraid to use it. It's simple and easy to do. So easy. The other thing is habit stack it. Put it in your nighttime routine. Everyone has a nighttime routine. I go to the bathroom, I wash my face, I brush my teeth. Put it into that cycle. Put it on your liver, go to the bathroom, wash your face with castor oil, put the castor oil all over your eyes, wash your teeth, oil pull with castor oil, put the castor oil eye mask on. Make it a routine. If you make it a routine, if you stack it with other habits that you're already presently doing, it's going to be that much easier for you to do. Okay. And that's where you'll see the difference. Most people will notice a benefit of castor oil pack somewhere within the first 3 to 7 days. And if they don't find a benefit in the castor oil pack within that time, typically it is simply due to dehydration and lack of water, because the castor oil pack can move you into the relaxed state. When you move into the relaxed state, your body can naturally augment its liver detox, lymphatic drainage, and its cleansing. But then in order to move that stuff out of the body, guess what? You need water, right? You ultimately need water. So if anyone has noticed that, that's the key. Number 2, make it attractive. I've done that for you. The work is easy. This is the old way of doing the pack, which was a disaster and wasn't healthy because of that plastic wrap around you. Now, this is the easy way. Number 3, easy. Pour 1 tablespoon of castor oil or rub the oil on your liver and then put it on your body. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Keep it simple. Make it easy. And number 4, make it satisfying. That's built into the castor oil pack on its own. The oil naturally augments dopamine when you put it on your skin. The pack naturally augments oxytocin, just like a weighted blanket. And then both of those two combined together, beautiful neurotransmitters that help you feel better and help reduce your cortisol, stress hormone. And the result of that is you poop better, you sleep better, and you feel better. And the key is to start today. Do not wait, okay? Do not wait, because you want to experience the game-changing benefits of the castor oil pack. The number one thing people say on our website, beyond poop better, sleep better, feel better, is that the castor oil packs are a game changer in their health. And that's massive. In a world today where we have new fancy things coming out all the time that we want to try, that are super expensive, that, are flashy and look really good, but they don't have that time-honored tradition. And the fact that the narrative has never, ever, ever changed on castor oil and castor oil packs. It just works. And now that they're easy to do, all you got to do is get started. That's it. And that's all. Easy peasy. Awesome. Oh, audio.
All I was saying was that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're
That
so
was
welcome.
fantastic. Okay, couple of things. Marisol, can you text your team? Because we are seeing that some people are having a hard time applying the coupon.
Perfect.
Thank you. These things
Okay.
happen. And Clarissa, can you pop how to order into the chat? I'm gonna pause the recording here for just a second. Hang on, and then we'll get to some Q&As. Hang on. All right. All right, here come those hot questions. Oh my God, how do you wash it? That's gonna take care of like 5 questions.
Yeah. So how you wash it, this is the number one question. Note that you do want to replace your pack after at least 2 to 3 months. Don't use it forever. The reason being is castor oil gets heavy. We don't know if there's a transfer of things in and out of the body via the skin. There's a possibility for it. So for that reason, I think from a hygienic perspective, it's important to replace it. If you don't want to replace the whole pack, what you can do is you can actually buy inserts, and inserts are like a lesser expensive alternative. You can buy the outside shell and just get a couple of inserts and then just be replacing the inside inserts on the side. So that's something that you can add to the kit if you wanted to do that. To wash it, simply soak it overnight in hot water and baking soda. This is what I found to be works the best. I squeeze in a little bit of like clean soap, and then the morning when I wake up, you got to put a little bit of elbow grease because it is castor oil. You put in the elbow grease, you wash it out, strain it out, lay it flat onto like an old cloth, and then wring it out and get rid of all that extra oil and extra water and stuff. And then lay it flat to dry, and it should be ready to go for the next time.
All right, Jane, look right up in the chat, right above there, and there's all the information. Do I take this internally? You already said don't, but let's recover that.
So castor oil, when you want to get castor oil internally, you're looking for a USP grade castor oil. And USP grade castor oil is very, very different from ours. Is food grade, but it isn't USP castor oil. If it's USP castor oil, it can be taken internally. And when it's taken internally, it's used really as a stimulant laxative or used in order to like induce labor. So that's where we go with that. I like castor oil orally. I have no qualms with it. Again, I think it just depends on time and a place. I've induced labor with patients with castor oil packs. It's just a softer way. When you take it orally, you got a lot of diarrhea. It can be a lot of cramping. And for a mom who's already uncomfortable trying to push out a 7 to 8 pound,
Nice.
10, 12 baby, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's better to just do a nice little soft castor oil pack. But again, do that with the advice and recommendation of your practitioner, OBGYN, or your midwife who's trained in it and understands where you're at in your stage of pregnancy.
How often we know now how to wash the pack. How often do you wash it?
I wash mine honestly, like with the oil. I try not to use very much oil, so I only use like 1 to 2 tablespoons. Less is more. Old recommendations really just went overboard with the amount of oil. You used to like oversaturate the entire pack, that it was like a soaking wet towel. It was pretty gross. I don't do that. 1 to 2 tablespoons. I get away with about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I wash it. So I think it just depends until you get to the point where you're like, okay, this has just like way too much oil. I gotta like clean it up.
Okay, and what's the expiration? We buy a bottle, somebody had one from 3 years ago.
Yeah, so it's usually about 2.5 years. Castor oil has a unique molecular structure. It's resistant to heat, but like anything, it might be a good thing. I mean, I would do the smell test, just smell it. If it has a little bit of a funky smell, probably not a good idea. It could have been in a situation where it's like overheated, or it's in a cabinet, or maybe it just wasn't in the best place for too long. So I would smell it and see if it's okay, and then go from there.
Okay, how long do you leave the pack on? 1 hour, all night, anywhere in between?
So as the minimum is an hour, as long as obviously it's like anything, Shivan, if you and I hang out together, if we have more time talking together, we learn together more, and we grow more.
Yeah.
Same deal with castor oil pack. If you're where you have to at least wear it for an hour because you need to give it that amount of time to soak in. You got to have the shift into the relaxed state. You got to allow your body to start to like activate its natural detox, lymphatic, and drainage processes. But of course, if you wear it all night long, you get the added benefit. It's like wearing a weighted blanket all night. You just sleep deeper and you feel better. And by the time you wake up in the morning, you feel better. Yeah, I wear it during the day too.
I wear it during the day, like all the time.
Yeah.
Usually I'm just boobs up in this, Zoom world, but I wear it all the time. Seriously.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, so you can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of castor oil every night, correct?
Yeah, every night I add when I'm doing it more frequently, I just add 1. I only do 2 tablespoons the first night, and then the first time I use the pack, and then I go 1 and 1 and 1. So the bottle of oil, the 500 ml, 16 fluid ounces will probably last somewhere between, depending on how much you use it, and if you're also using it for cosmetic, 2 to 4 weeks, depending. Like I use it on everything, so I go through castor oil pretty quickly.
Nancy's saying, I've heard you should start out slowly when beginning if there are a lot of health problems.
So not necessarily slowly. I would just start with like an hour and then see how you tolerate it. And most importantly, if you do have a lot of health problems, what I said earlier on, it was that factor about water and electrolyte status. So many of us are dehydrated, and that could be aggravating our symptoms because our body is naturally trying to move things and detox and lymph drain and cleanse, because that's how the body heals. And if we don't have sufficient amount of water, if we're lacking electrolytes, well, then our body just can't do anything and gets stuck. And that's where people can feel symptoms. So as long as if you're dealing with some intense symptoms or problems and illnesses that your doctor is managing with you, just, make sure they're always going to be telling you also about hydration status and electrolytes. So that's just a key with anything you do in life, even supplements or food or anything.
How about infrared sauna use with castor oil?
I love it. I love it a lot. I think, anytime that you can activate like infrared lights, I think is a fantastic thing. What I do love to do is I love to use more just our insert. Like we have a pack, which is literally just organic cotton. This is literally just organic cotton, and we have organic cotton straps. The less mess pack, I say reserve this more for when you're like going to bed, because it does have an outside layer of polypropylene to keep it cleaner. That is the same plastic that is used in food grade yogurt, which is why it's safe to use with a castor oil pack. But I would use just the organic flannel in the sauna and just wear the castor oil there.
Okay. And then, so heat doesn't hurt it in that particular situation, and like a hot water bottle on there?
No, that's fine. As long as it's not like an excessive amount of radiant heat, right? Because it's a outside plastic layer. You wouldn't want to put too much heat.
Olga, try again to order or reach out to their customer service. The coupon is working now.
Good.
Can you use it on the kidneys?
Yes, and anywhere in the body. So people use it for kidneys if typically they're dealing with like kidney pains, kidney adrenal fatigue, right? That's a big use in our clinical practice, was for adrenal fatigue. The ancient traditional Chinese medicine doctors actually used to use it on the kidneys for joint pain, because there's a lot of inflammation that can be sourced from the kidneys. So those are the ways that it was used eclectically, but definitely you can use it on the kidneys. Again, think about that. If the kidneys are an issue, water, hydration status. So that's part of helping the whole body to work a lot better.
If you're small size, like a size 0, should you get a child size castor pack?
I would think so. The child's pack is definitely a lot smaller, so it could probably fit your liver a lot better. You don't, like, for an example, the pack that you were wearing, Shivan, is the big pelvic pack.
Yeah.
And we have the pelvic pack and then the low back pack. So really go location specific. Keep your liver pack for your liver and your pelvic pack for your pelvic region. You don't want to switch in between the packs. Like, you don't want to put the liver on the pelvic region. Only, again, as I said earlier, I'm not sure, we aren't sure. We are going to be moving into researching and studying what can happen from the oil if it goes back into the pack. So, your ovaries and uterus are very, very gentle tissues. Have your own pack for that area. Plus your packs just last longer, a little bit more of an initial investment. But in the long run, I think you'll have your packs for certain areas, and it works a lot better.
I love that idea. I hadn't thought of that before. Are there any health conditions who should not use castor oil?
Really, it's literally just pregnancy, and because of the induction of labor would be the really only time that we're not recommending castor oil. The other exception to that rule also would be if there's like an open wound. So say in the example of like postpartum, if someone had a cesarean section and they have an open wound, wait until that open wound heals up and then you can use a pack. With postpartum, love using the pelvic pack. Great strategy to helping with like calming the system down, moving things into the right area after all that stress that has happened to the tissues from everything stretching, right? And then moving back to place after pregnancy.
CSB, can it help induce period in a teen with no cycle?
So again, there's lots of factors, so I don't want to claim that it's like the end all be all, but with diet, because if a teenager is not having a cycle, there could be reasons in terms of diet. We want to look at the amount of fat that they're eating. Are they underweight? There's a lot to look at in that case. But if their cycle is not working because of stress, it can definitely be of support. So again, I don't want to claim that it's going to be the end all be all to get the period back. However, it's definitely going to be a tool that's going to support along with diet and supplementation, and making sure that that child is not dealing, or that teenager is not dealing with an enormous amount of stress, which could be blocking the hormone cascade from the top down.
Okay, what does it do for the thyroid? And yes, there is a thyroid pack.
Yes. Well, I love the thyroid. The reason I love the thyroid pack so much is that, the thyroid is the organ that is the most susceptible to environmental toxins. It's the one that deals and suffers with the most amount of inflammation as well, too. And whenever we're doing things like liver detoxification, drainage, the thyroid can be susceptible to things that are moving. So I love to do my liver pack with the thyroid pack, because the thyroid then could have an effective, support of inflammation, improving lymphatic circulation lymphatic drainage and blood circulation to the area, so that the thyroid gets more blood and gets drained of the toxins that may be in the area. So I think that is really key when it comes to the thyroid pack.
Okay, what about the backpack versus the pelvic pack? Are they the same packs?
The backpack's just a little bit larger. It's more of like you could say like a man size. It's quite large, and it's meant to really cover like from the sciatic region all the way down from like the sit bones that you sit on, all the way up to like the mid back onto the kidneys and above the kidneys. So it is a big pack. Like it fits everything there.
How do you use castor oil packs for lumbar stenosis?
Like that, you would be using the backpack, and it would be again, the point of that would be to help with support of regulation of inflammation in the area and pain relief as well too, and limbering up the tissues, because we know that castor oil, if there's scar tissues, whether there's scars or improper accumulations of tissues, castor oil has been known eclectically. There's no research on this, however, I just want to be very clear, but it's been known to help with breaking down of those tissues.
Hey, is somebody on your team able to come join us as a panelist? Because we're getting a couple of customer service issues.
Yeah.
Clarissa can, Marisol, can you shoot that over to SIBO SOS support? They'll join as a panelist, and somebody will tell me, and then Clarissa and she can communicate. Okay. Thank you. All right, we're back over here. Okay. Hold on. You all have such genius questions. And Marisol, can you hang up for a few more minutes?
Yeah, I can hang up as long as hang on as long as you want.
Okay,
Let me just send the link.
Woo, okay. Okay, we did that. Heat, no heat, she did that. Can it reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? How long would it take? She cannot.
Okay.
Because that is a medical claim. And also, how long have you had it? But would it be something that would be a treatment that would make sense for someone who's dealing with that?
So I actually have personal experience with this, because at 26, when I was dealing with all of my health conditions, what I failed to mention was that I was also diagnosed like PCOS and fatty liver disease. Actually, that was diagnosed at 22. And now, and again, I'm a case of one, right? So you can't use only my case, but now I no longer have a fatty liver. Of course, multiple lifestyle things that I practice on a regular basis as well too. But there's also been case reports. There was a presentation done at the American Association of Naturopathic Practitioners who collected a compilation of different case reports from different naturopathic doctors who had benefit in reduction of fatty liver, as well as cholesterol levels also, which are all inflammatory processes and blood sugar problems that are happening within the body. Your cholesterol elevates when there's too much inflammation in your body. Your blood sugar is elevated when there's too much inflammation in the body. So what the castor oil and castor oil pack are supportive of is that inflammation factor, right? And it's just such a good systemic liver abdomen pack that is localized that you can't otherwise get, because again, you know, in our world, we're constantly taking things orally, but how much are we actually absorbing? That's a key too. And you know, with castor oil packs, with my patients and myself too, I know if I'm not feeling well, and if I haven't been doing my castor oil packs, because I fall off the wagon as well too, all honesty, everyone does, we're human. You know, if I fall off of the wagon, you know, what I realize is that I have to take more supplements, I have to do more things, I have to eat better. I can't have my 80-20 rule. I really have to stick on my diet and supplements 100%. But when I'm doing the castor oil pack, then everything that I'm doing works better. My supplements work better. My colon hydrotherapy visits work better. Everything flows so much better. I feel better. So that's a big win when it comes to that.
All right, that makes total sense. Hey,
Yeah.
Marisol, let's see. We can't bring someone in as a panelist because we're already live, but there's the link. She can come in as a attendee and I can promote. So
Okay,
that she
perfect.
can see everything. Thanks, everybody. It's not toxic if it's taken internally, but we're not suggesting that you do it. You heard her answer there. Place the pack on. Yes, DC, you can use that roller ball. I'm just getting through here while she's taking care of that. Okay, what about, hold on, I want to try to what about lipomas? That is that fat underneath the skin. That's
yes, yeah. Same again, eclectic use on that. No research study that has been done with lipomas, but people do use it again. Anytime that there's accumulation of tissues or masses in any area, people use castor oil. And you know, again, I don't love making claims, only because, you know, our world, sometimes there's so many companies that make so many different claims. But what I can say is it's an inexpensive treatment. It's worth a try. If it does reduce it even to a small extent, what a great thing, right? And again, I've had so many practitioner colleagues send me pictures of like skin things and lipomas, and even in clinical practice, I've had benefit with it, with like things like bunions and lipomas, anytime cysts, any kinds of accumulations that have really like been broken down or at least reduced in size, which was excellent.
okay. Jane, we have just tried to get a staff member from her team.
Sorry, they're coming on. They're okay. She's on right now.
Calm down, Jane. We'll get into you, darling. We've like moving heaven and earth for you, sister. We are not here to take your money and run away. We're gonna help you. So
I'm wondering if she might be doing two. It ends. Okay, perfect.
Yes, Susan's iPhone. Yes, try it on in that sauna. We talked about that. Okay, we did talk about washing it, Diane. Yep. You don't want to use it, don't want to get it on the sheets and oil, sheets. That's fine. Yeah, that's why she made the pack. Seriously.
That's why I made the pack. Even still, if you're really concerned about it, you know, I think once you get to a point with using castor oil packs that you like don't care anymore about your sheets, because it's like whatever, I want the benefits of it. And no one sees the part that you're actually sleeping in. But if you're concerned, wear an old t-shirt or just put a little towel on the bed, and you should be fine. There usually isn't, because they're not less, they're less mess. Castor oil is very hard to contain.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things that is super easy to contain. So you just got to be careful with that.
Okay, so Jane and your team, it's just called, who's on your team?
Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. Okay, so you two are communicating. Great. All right, moving on. And then whoever was trying to order the eye mask, go ahead and communicate with just as support. Where I'm SIBO SOS support, that's Clarissa. If you go into the chat, you'll see support, and that is Caitlin. All right, we're gonna get back to these questions. Yes,
There's a really great one from Antoinette about what about hair and eyes and can it
I
the
am
pores?
getting there, but go ahead.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
love it. I love it. I love it. So that's a good one because I look at that and I'm like, well, yes, hair is one of the old traditional uses in Russia, Serbia. I mean, if I when I run into any Russians, like they're always like, oh, castor oil for the hair. It is such an eclectic use. So people have been using it for eons with regards to helping improve the hair follicle. What I do with the hair, I love, love, love. We have an actual hair pack. So I actually, and with the hair, less is more. Don't do too much because if you put too much in, it's really, really hard to get out and it's going to go against the benefit. Remember, less is more with castor oil. We've learned that over the years. All you do is simply put the castor oil into your roots, and then you take the rest of the oil in your hands and you blot the ends of your tips. And then you take this fancy dandy, it's like basically a hair wrap. Now, I'm not going to be able to do it really quick because it takes me a little bit of time to do, but you literally wrap your hair around and you stuff all of the hair into the wrap, and it's like a hot oil hair treatment. So this actually starts to get really hot after an hour. And then because it's again, the type of material, it's like castor oil pack, like it keeps the castor oil in, and it's a great way to do a conditioning hair treatment weekly. So I do that weekly. In fact, I did that last night, which is probably why my hair looks so great. And then when it comes to eyebrows and eyelashes, same deal. You can't use it with fake eyelashes because the fake eyelashes will come off because castor oil will dissolve and get them out of the eyes. So you don't want to use them with fake eyelashes. It won't clog the pores. In fact, people use castor oil over the eyelids to support gland that are clogged in the eye. So they actually use it for and dryness of the eye as well too. So when people talk about castor oil for the vision, it's what they're doing is they're simply applying castor oil over the eyelids and they're using that nightly. And I just do it all in one. I put the castor oil on my eyelids, on my eyebrows, on my eyelashes, around my eyes, and I follow it up with the eye mask and I go to bed. And that just makes it easy. And I know I'm doing good for my body.
There you go. You can you're not wearing it 24 hours a day. No, you're doing it for like an hour at a time or overnight. There you go.
Exactly. Simple.
What does the word golden? So that was for you, Folga. What does the word golden mean on the? Yeah.
Awesome. Great question. So there's two types of castor oil. There's golden castor oil, which is the original castor oil, which is basically taken from the baby seeds of castor oil, which are this small, as you can see. That's the size, that little beetle, that's the size of a castor oil bean, and it actually looks like a little beetle. So that's so tiny. So when you first press the castor oil, it is just golden. So that is the original castor oil. That comes out. It's like extra virgin. Nothing has been done to it. When you see black castor oil, or otherwise known as black Jamaican castor oil, black Haitian castor oil, there's all these different names and correlations to it based on country. That oil has actually been heated and burnt. And what makes it black color is the ash of the soot, basically, of the castor oil. So there's very, very different uses, and it's really dependent on the amount of melanin in your skin or in your hair. So if you are on the Fitzpatrick skin scale, so anyone with really, really light skin that burns very easy all the way up until olive skin, you're using castor oil golden for your hair and your skin all over the place, all over your body, everywhere. So golden. If you find yourself that you have darker skin, the more melanin you have, then you're going to be using, for the hair in specific, black castor oil. But the golden is always used for the liver pack because of the antioxidants, and it hasn't been burnt. So that's the reason why we use for the rest of the body and for all the anti-aging processes, we use golden castor oil for everybody. But if you have very, very dark skin, or more than olive colored skin and more melanin basically in your skin, and a crinkly, curly, and kinky hair, you're going to be using black castor oil in your hair. It just works better based on alkalinity and acidity, and the difference between the alkalinity and the acidity and the balancing out of the pH on the skin and hair for women. It's very, very fascinating, actually.
Do you use 2 inserts for the backpack?
You can use inserts for the backpack. You can use 1 or 2 inserts. You basically rotate the inserts. So you use one, and then you have a second one on hand. So then that way you can always be working with your castor oil pack.
Andrea and Mahia want to know, can you put it directly on painful joints?
Yes. I have basilar arthritis here on this joint, which is a repetitive use injury I got from clinical practice from making IV bags from being a detox and cleansing center and clinic. And I did so many thousands of IV bags. I repetitively moved my thumb down this way so many times. And whenever it is tender, I go and I do castor oil. I'll sometimes use a red light on it, and then I'll wrap it up in like a little castor oil pack. And I hopefully hope to be having castor oil hand packs and joint packs coming out very soon, because it's a big deal. I use it with a lot of patients as well.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. How much oil would you use for a big oil, like for a big area, excuse me, like the back?
I would, same deal. I would, well, again, first time you're going to use 2 tablespoons. Again, spread it around the pack and blot it so that the oil is spread. The key is over time, you're going to be adding more and more castor oil to it. So again, you don't need oodles and buckets of oils. All the packs are starting with like 1 to 2 tablespoons. Obviously, if you're using a thyroid pack, use less oil. You don't want to put 2 tablespoons. You'll have it overly saturated. Just on the thyroid pack and the eye pack, you're using a lot. You're actually, with those packs, you're actually putting it on the area first and then applying the pack. So it's just a little bit different.
Isn't the roll-on, is it the same as in the big bottle?
Yeah, the roll-on is exactly the same oil as it is in the big bottle. Yes. Yeah.
Will it regrow eyebrows? This is where we get into claims. You have to be very careful. Your eyebrows could have fallen out for thyroid, whatever. I will say that I have noticed, for me personally, individual results will vary. I have noticed hair growth where I've used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is last time we did this, we had so many questions on this, so I actually wrote a note. Did you say the liver pack from full moon to new moon and the pelvic pack from new moon to full moon was only for those in perimenopause, or also for those who are postmenopausal?
You got it. Perimenopause and postmenopausal, and throughout the second phase of life. So I love to call it like our on fire time of life, like the time when we're like most engaged and we step into our power. Throughout like perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and as we get older, that's the best way to help your hormones stay balanced and regular. We are based on the moon cycle. The medical profession is also starting to realize this as well too. We have that 28-day cycle for a reason, because we are based on the moon. Everything works together in our world. And so when we can work on the natural moon cycles and get our body balanced, and people will actually see that when their body is balanced. My body is balanced at this state in my life, I feel, and it goes according to the moon completely. It's on schedule. Like I don't need to chart my period. All I need to do is look at when there's a new moon, when there's a full moon. And because I'm in a transition of perimenopause, I'll menstruate on the full moon. I'll ovulate on the new moon if I'm ovulating or transitioning out of it. And then the same thing happens, but I feel all those stages within my body.
Wow. All right. How is it for nighttime muscle tightening and cramping prevention?
So okay, this is a cool little thing I learned from a clinical hack in practice. So when we test castor oil, we test it and we're looking for the iodine content, because it's actually a nice, moderate, mild source of iodine, a good, healthy balance, not excessive, not too little, just a nice amount of it. And sometimes people who are getting cramping in their system could be deficient in iodine. Is one of the big reasons, sometimes B12, sometimes magnesium and other things. I love working with the castor oil pack, and also sometimes if it's legs in specific, rubbing castor oil on the soles of the feet as well as on the legs, and going to bed and then doing the castor oil pack too. There can be a lot of benefits seen on that. So it's something to try for you. Again, you got to see if it's going to work for you, but that's one of the ways that I've seen it work in clinical practice.
Susan, does it have to be on a cotton flannel? Can you use it on a panty liner applied to any local area?
Pardon me, say that again?
You can use a panty liner applied to any local area.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the panty liner is organic cotton and there's no chemicals being done in it, that's one way that can absolutely be done, for sure. I think the key is just making sure that it's organic cotton and it's like there's no chemicals that are on that material. That's the big key, right? It's the material, and just making sure you can trust that.
But also, Susanna, I wouldn't personally put it on a pad, because those are designed to absorb. That would be like a little bit of a waste, but like in a jam, heck yeah. Okay, is Queen of Thrones no longer cold pressed?
So at this point in time, it is expeller pressed again, because we fresh press so we are the number one producers of castor oil and castor oil packs in pretty much North America, and retailers of it. And so we fresh bottle every single day, and we're testing our oil consistently and constantly. And so I alternate back and forth depending on those measurements, because again, it isn't necessarily if it's cold pressed. You can have a cold press that is very low quality grade oil. The difference between expeller pressed and cold press is actually minute. Cold pressed, people think that there's absolutely no heat used to cold press, but there actually is a minute amount of heat that is used for cold pressing, because otherwise you would get no oil from the seed. Imagine it is like seriously this tiny. It's like, look at how tiny that is. That's the seeds. Okay, so if there wasn't even a little bit amount of heat, and all cold pressing uses typically a little bit of heat. So there's a little bit of heat used in cold pressing. There's a little bit more heat used in expeller pressing. But what I'm looking for is, again, I'm looking at iodine level. I'm looking at the levels of heavy metals in castor oil. I'm looking for any contaminants that might be there from processing. So when we're looking and sourcing our castor oil, we go to a variety of different farms. We test them all. We always look for the best. And sometimes that's, right now it's in between of an expeller pressed. And I'm searching for a good quality cold press. I will let you know when that happens, and I'll bottle it as soon as I can find that. But there's been a concern on the marketplace for a while, and I think that a lot of companies aren't aware of it because they might not be testing it.
Okay, and what about cystic acne?
Excellent. With cystic acne, number one, it's a hormonal based issue and problem, and lymphatic drainage as well too. So the liver pack is instrumental, but also doing a castor oil face wash is phenomenal. I wish I had known of that when I was a teenager, because I mean, I was doing Clearasil and all the different Spectrogel and all the different really astringent and really like tough on your skin solutions that weren't always the best, in my case at least. But castor oil, you can wash your face with castor oil, literally steam a wet cloth, put it on the face, open up those pores, take a dollop of castor oil, mix it in your hands, blot it all over, let it sit for a period of time, massage. You do this for lymphatic drainage, or use a gua sha tool, right? Like all of this, of course, open up your lymphatic systems. Yeah, this is such an easy thing with your fingers. You don't even need a tool. Just do it with your fingers, do all this. That gets all the circulation and the lymph moving with the castor oil. Then take that that wet cloth, and that steamed wet cloth, make sure it's not burning and it's good enough to the touch. Put it back on, and then wipe off the excess castor oil. Castor oil is not comedogenic, which means it doesn't clog the pores. It won't make problems. If anything, it's pulling, especially if you do it in that way with the hot steamed cloth. Really good tool. Yeah.
If you wake up with a feeling of a hangover and that you're not going to the toilet when you wake up, chances are you're not hydrated enough. True or false?
True. Absolutely true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it can help with electrosensitivity, the nervous system of an overstimulated by high EMF? Sounds like you need some parasympathetic time.
Exactly. So I was going to say absolutely. So when I was in college, naturopathic college, and I created my very first castor oil pack, one of the big problems which was aggravating my situation was that they had just put on top of my condo building. Number one, it is a building full of mold, and number two, they just put a massive cell phone tower on my building. So I was getting dirty electromagnetic frequencies, and I am so sensitive to all those different things that I was just an absolute mess because of it. And I didn't have the option to be able to move out of that place because it was what I had. I was signed into a lease. I was in naturopathic college. I had to finish. And so I had to make do. And that was, for me, that's where castor oil, I really noticed like what a saving grace it was for me in those situations, and you can hear reports of that. Again, if you want to look at the testimonials on our website, people dealing with electromagnetic sensitivities are using it for that. Absolutely.
How about for vaginal dryness?
I love. Like I love me and my husband actually use it for sexual intercourse as well too. It's our lubricant, and we use it as a lovemaking oil. I love it for that. Like, to me, I just feel that it's so nurturing. I know there's nothing chemical in it. I could do what I want with it. It's safe all over the body. So I think it's just such a wonderful oil to use as
Marisol, keeping it real right here at SIBO SOS and
it's true.
And Fasha and all that. I love
in fact, the funny thing is my husband has a bottle on his side of the bed and I have a bottle on my side of the bed. So we are never far away from our castor.
Lathering all over the place. I love it. Is the oil, let's change the subject for a second, Wecky. Is the oil toxic to cats and dogs?
I don't think so, but we don't know. But right now, the cool thing is I'm actually doing some research with a holistic veterinarian in Florida. So so cats are unique because cats have an ability to get dehydrated very easily. So we're not sure about cats, but I know I've used it in my little doggy, and I would put the little eye mask on her belly. I had a Yorkie that was 4 pounds, and she would often have like digestive disturbances. And so when she wasn't feeling well and her belly was nice and bare, I would just like rub the castor oil on her belly, and I'd put the little pack on her, and literally I'd start to hear her gut gurgle, and then she'd have to go to the bathroom, and then she'd feel better. So it was like clockwork. So I've always used it on my dog. Again, I'm not a veterinarian, so I can't really like speak in specific towards the dogs. But I am working with an amazing Dr. Marlene, who's an amazing holistic vet, and we're practicing and trying out castor oil packs there. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How is it for hyperpigmentation on the skin?
So with hyperpigmentation, practitioners use glutathione in order to help with reduction of excess pigmentation of the skin. This is something that I've seen a lot of before and after pictures from a lot of my colleagues. And my idea is that the reason it's improving the pigmentation is because of its preservation of glutathione. If you can preserve glutathione, and that's the reason too why, I'm starting with castor oil earlier rather than later, so I can see if I can, slow down age spots as much as possible.
Okay. Let's see. If you have a mass, whether it's benign or malignant, how often can I apply the castor oil packs on this mass?
I mean, there's two schools of thought when it comes to this, and one is that with masses and in cancer in specific, that some people think that put it on as much as possible because it's changing the environment, reduction of inflammation, improving circulation, and removing the lymph and the toxicity that needs to be removed out of the area. The other school of thought says don't put them on top of the mass in case that it might be increasing circulation and metastasis. I, in my clinical practice, saw a lot of cancer patients, and what I did was that I actually would place it on top of the masses again, because to me, it's the environment that is creating and promoting the disease and the problem. It's the inflammation, it's the stress, it's the lack of circulation and the lack of oxygen, because cancer thrives in a unoxygenated area. And if there's no lymphatic flow draining the cells so that they can be healthy, that's problematic.
Hydration electrolytes. A couple of people are saying they stop drinking like at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So is it okay to still do the pack at night?
Oh yeah, as long as they're drinking during the day. Hydration is about what you did during the entire day. In fact, if you just drink before bed, you're not going to replenish your hydration. It's what you've been doing throughout your entire day. It's what you've been eating. The fact that you've been eating vegetables and maybe not fried foods that are all lack or processed foods that are have no hydration within them.
Would you please repeat the full moon and new moon schedule again?
Yes. So you begin on the full moon, and the full moon, your liver pack and thyroid on the full moon. And then on the new moon, you switch on over to the pelvic pack. So the new moon is when you would be potentially ovulating. You switch on over to the pelvic pack with the breast packs, because the breast packs, that's a time when you want to nourish the ovaries, the uterus, and the breast tissue.
All right. Is the iodine enough to be a concern for someone with Hashimoto's? Can react to iodine supplements? No.
No, not that has not been the case that we've seen at all.
Even if people with shellfish allergies?
No, because it's not sourced from shellfish. It's iodine that is from the castor bean. It's completely different. Yeah.
All right. Listen, you guys, I love you all so much. We are so over the time, and I still have 100 questions, my friend.
I bet. Well, we can answer them for sure.
Okay, well, we're not.
Not today. Not later.
Not today.
Yeah.
But Lori wants to know about. I'm just gonna do a raffle here because I love you all and I appreciate your questions so much. But how to use for bags under the eyes? I'm just gonna scroll and try to find some.
For the bags under the eyes, that is the eye mask. Going to sleep with the bags and anything within the eye, wanting to like slow down the signs of aging, the wrinkles, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, support, for dryness of eyes, dark circles under the eyes, where applying castor oil around the eyes, and then not in the eyes. You need a sterile formula for in the eyes, around the eyes and on the eyelid, and then placing the castor oil eye pack on that. That is the tool. That is the best way to do it for sure.
She's asking about colonoscopy prep. I wouldn't really use it as a colonoscopy prep in lieu of what your doctor has told you.
In combination could support, right? Because it would help things. It would help open up things, help things move better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But not as instead of. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just had my colonoscopy, my third one, and what I definitely suggest is if you are constipated, you ramp up. Don't all try to kill yourself on that one day, although do the instructions, but like ease your way into it so you're not tortured that 24-hour period where you're drinking that nasty stuff. But
Exactly. Oh,
all the
yeah.
naturopaths I've talked to about colonoscopy prep, they have said, we are not involving ourselves. Do
Yeah.
exactly what the doctor is telling you to do, because
It
that
is
is their day,
Yeah.
that is their procedure, that is
Yeah.
your insurance. And if you go, I saw this happen to someone else there. I didn't see the whole thing, but they had not really prepped enough. It hadn't worked out well enough for them based on the conversation. So they had to do an enema in the prep room.
Yeah.
Not in front of everyone, but just FYI, do your colonoscopy.
Yeah. I mean, I want to, I guess, wrap things up with, like, there's a good time and a place for everything, and everything is good for us. But
Yes.
I'm in a place and a person. And if you're recommended to do something by a practitioner, do that. They have knowledge and skills, and they're guiding you in the right way. So do follow that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
good for you. There's a lot of that. Anyway, let's say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Put some love into the chat for Marisol. We did get about 100 questions answered. Oh my gosh, God bless you. Thank
That's
you all
great.
so much for these wonderful questions, and for coming, and Clarissa, and for Caitlin for being here, and for that special offer that you have right there. Anyway, we love you. We thank you so